Amy. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on how to paint an easy aster flower, and I'm going to be showing you how to paint one with it being open, also how to paint like the back side of one, and then a partially open one. So we're going to go ahead and start with well, actually I'm not starting with this one, but I'm going to show you the brushes I'll be using, which is in flat number 10. This is a plaid one-stroke brush along with a number 12 flat one-stroke brush. For the center, I'm going to be using a scruffy plaid one-stroke brush that's a 1/4 inch. And I started doing a demo just to kind of get a design started. And at first I started with a blue, and I thought, no, I'm going to switch over to a purple. So I'm going to be using Violet Pansy along with Wicker White. All these paints are folk art paints. All of them are multi-surface except for the white. I'll be using Moon Yellow and Thicket along with one of my favorites, Peridot. The only thing is, on this design that I'm going to be showing you, it doesn't give me a lot of contrast using those two greens together, unlike when I've done some designs in the past. So hopefully you'll get the gist. But we're going to go ahead and start. Now you can start out, if you want to, by doing your greenery, maybe making a kind of a little footprint for your design. And that basically is, by starting at the bottom, kind of veering off a little bit, coming up, showing where some of the flower buds are going to actually be, or the flowers themselves, the flowers, the petals, the buds, however you want to look at it. And just kind of give it, it's like a little bit of a road map, basically. And I'm not filling them in to be real thick. Just kind of giving me a guideline. Alright, so I am going to go ahead though and start out by actually painting, after I do this part of it, painting the actual flower itself. I will be using the number 12 for the actual open flower arrangement. And this is really easy. I'm just starting on the chisel edge, which is the very top of the brush, or the bristles I should say, and then just pulling them back. And I'm just going to create a circle with this, and maybe make some of them longer than others. But I'm also just going to curve some of them one direction, curve some of them the other direction, just to give it some movement. You see what I mean? It's like curving it here, curving it that way. That way it's kind of like the opposite direction, so that you're not curving them all going in the same way. Now you can, if that's how you want to do it, but I like to give it movement, or at least a little bit. It's not a lot by any means, but it's giving a little bit, and maybe making the actual petals not all the same size. And I'm finding when I'm looking at pictures of the aster, there are a lot of variations, just like with any of the flowers. It seems like there's so many different, I don't know if it's a breed or what it is, how you would describe it, but there's so many variations of each type of flower. So just because I say, even a sunflower, I say that could mean a lot of things. There's just, it could be, a smaller version of a sunflower, different colors. Now what I'm doing on this is I'm actually reversing it when I do the second layer. And some that you'll find, you're not even going to find a second layer. It's just going to show you as though, and I switch my brush around again. I want to have the white on the outer part this time as opposed to the purple. That way I'm getting a little bit of a contrast in the color, so you can see a variation, more so than if I were to keep it all going in the same direction, meaning the double loading of the brush, depending on which direction I turn it, that's what the color you're going to actually see more of. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, leave me a comment down below and I will give you more information about that. So I'm going to go ahead, I keep doing that, and do a few of the open ones. Just a few. And if you follow my channel, you're going to know that I like to work in what? Meaning even or odd numbers. If you know the answer, give me a comment down below. I mean, you can guess if you don't follow me, but I'm hoping that you will take a moment to subscribe so that you will get my notifications whenever I post something new. Hit that notification bell, and if you subscribe, then you'll get my videos whenever I post something new. And you know, coming up with some different ideas, just trying some different things. So I'm hoping that you will consider subscribing. Alright, now this is a little bit smaller version of the open. They don't by any means have to all be the same size. And once again, I'm going to start with the purple on the outside. And then just keep pulling it in. See, pretty easy. Pretty darn easy. So right now, I've decided just to take some time to show you some different floral designs that you can create, different types of flowers. Some are harder than others to paint. I just did that backwards. Some are harder to paint than others. And sometimes there's an easier version to paint. Sometimes there's a more detailed version to paint. I intentionally am trying to keep mine very easy, just so that anybody can do it. You know, if you're an experienced painter, you may want to put your own twist on it, give you an idea of a design that you might want to paint, and maybe put your own twist on it. You know, however you want to do it. Okay, so then I'm going to do my version of partially, well, this one's pretty closed, to be honest with you. I don't even look at this as being open. Not really a bud per se. I don't look at it like that either, but just still a closed one waiting to open. And I don't know if you've ever paid attention, but sometimes flowers will open and close every day. You know, based on the sun, the evening time, that kind of thing. So you may want to notice that as well. Now this one I'm going to attempt to do more partially opened one. And let me see here. I didn't put this in on my practice sheet, but I'm going to do it like this, because I am going to go ahead and put in a center, but then still have it be, let's see, let's do it like this, where we're coming down here and we're going to have it to where we've got some of those, like it's partially open, but I can still stamp in a partial center. You'll see what I mean here once I get to that point. Now, too, when you're painting these, it might be a situation where you're going to want to have some dry time in between when you put centers in and such. That's up to you, or you can take a hair dryer or a heat gun to do that. Again, strictly up to you how you want to do it. but with doing this, I a lot of times do it wet on wet. Depends on what I'm painting. Definitely depends on what I'm painting. And how much time I have to paint it is a factor as well. And sometimes when you're doing these too, you can also do different shades. You know, if you don't want to do double loading of your brushes, that type of thing, then do different shades. That gives you a layer as well. Yeah, the double loading will give me the shades, the different colors, because those mix. But if you want something that will actually do that, just do different colors. Okay, so right now, how many do I have? I have 6. I don't want to have just 6. And whoops, I'm doing this the wrong direction. This one I'm going to do partially opened also. And I do, to answer my question that I posed a little bit ago, I do like to work with odd numbers. And I think that's just a training that I got. I used to go to design school, and it seems like when you're designing stuff, it looks nicer if you're working with odd numbers. And that could just be my preference, but that's what I've been taught. So do as you wish. It's your project, right? Okay. So I'm going to give this a little bit of drying time. And what I'm going to do right now is start working on some of the petals. And this I'm double loading the Thicket and the Peridot. And I don't actually a lot of times have the paint clear up like I probably should, but I don't. And that's just by my choice, honestly. You know what though? Now I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay, so on this one I'm just going to do a leaf that's kind of swoops over. Hopefully you can see it. I'm trying to make sure. And then on the downside of it, it's kind of peeks out, and I'm just coming back and forth on it and then swinging it back. Now, I can do this like this, filled in more, come out, peek it, and then go in, and then go like that. And you can just kind of smooth it out if you got some extra paint there in the center. Now keep in mind too, when you're doing it on paper, you can have a tendency to have some dryness. So you may want to add some flow medium to your paint or your brush as you're painting. Now this is just kind of a roughly flower, but it's going to be thin. And again, you can have these going in different directions. You don't have to be like right up against each other. As I say, in nature, nothing is ever exactly the way you think it is. When you paint a picture, it can be very, like this one for some reason, I had a tendency to, I have to put another thing here. And I can use a smaller, which is actually why I had this, the number 10. Is to use a smaller brush to dip this in, touch this in. Okay. And you can do something with that too. I mean, it can have a leaf coming out. Not a biggie. I'm not too awful concerned about it, honestly. I'm going to come in here and do the same thing up here. And I'm pulling it down, not up, but down. Pulling it down on the chisel edge. Hopefully you got that. Alright, so those are the buds. And then this one up here is going to be as if it's just a look at it from behind. So you can do one of two ways. You can do this kind of a thing to it and just, you know, pull it and then pull it down. Or you can actually, one of the pictures I saw had little leaves in the back of it. And that's what I'm going to do with it, is just do little leaves. And then, so hoping I'm on the keep myself in line here with the video recorder. Make sure I'm in the screen. Tend to float off periodically. Alright, so then I just did that to the back of it, and that's going to be a flower rose as I'm viewing it from the back of it, not the front. Alright, I'm going to keep those. Let's see, these are two different sizes. Let's go ahead and do a few more of these type of leaves, because you can do it like that. And like I said, this is, you can even put a little swoop like that, like it's moving. And I can even do like another one down here just to give it some more interest. Do a bigger one. Overlap it a little bit. Swoop it down. Alright, I'm just going to pull that stem down just a smidge. And you can make this more out from the stem itself too. It doesn't have to be like it's really close. And I'm going to do that over here. See what I'm saying though? There's not a big contrast in color using these two colors for this, so you might want to choose maybe something a little different. I like these two together, so I have a tendency to use it a lot. And let's see, now these, when I was looking at it, a lot of times they had just little leaves that would come down just really sporadically. And you can do that too, even like around the back side of one where you're seeing it from the back. I'm not going to do too many of these because I think they kind of start looking funny if you've got too many of them. You might do, on this, maybe do 4. And then add some to a couple of the others. So make sure I'm still in the video. You can make some longer than others. For sure, they don't have to be incredibly long. And I'm assuming these are just kind of little leaves that go up around the actual flower itself. Like if it, like in the back part of it or something. If you don't want to put those on, you don't have to. If you think they're too weird looking. They are kind of funny looking. I have to agree. Alright. And then I'm going to just come in and put a little bit of that kind of a leaf in here. And you can have them coming down too. They don't all have to be pointing up. And see, they're just kind of a fun leaf to add in. It's a little bit different than what I typically do because I like my my wiggle leaves, as I call them. Yeah, part of it can be smooth too. You don't have to have wiggle motion on all of it. Let's do maybe one up here. Just kind of bring it out a little bit. And let's see where else. Might do a different kind of flower or leaf. Yeah, we'll see. Let's go ahead and tap in the centers. Just kind of doing this as I'm going here. I don't know why I've got, well, I do know why, since I'm holding all these paintbrushes. Like, why am I holding these? Okay, so I'm going to tap in the center. Now this, it kind of gave me a couple different types of centers too, but I think I like this kind of a center better. The one I'm going to tap in. And I'm just double loading, basically double loading my little scruffy brush. And then I'm putting them in. I am not going to do any dotting around them. You can if you want to add some more interest to it. I'm just going to leave it like this, or you could do take your liner brush or whatnot and add some more details, but I'm not going to do that on this one. I'm just leaving them like this. And then putting this one in over here. Just tap, 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 tap. Put it in. Alright. Alright, so I have that, oops, I almost forgot. These I'm just going to tap in, try to tap in a center. Because remember, if you remember that I'm saying that this is a partially open. Now, if you want these other little pieces to come up a little higher around it, you can actually go back in, maybe give it a little drying time, and go back in, bring those up a little bit higher over this. And I'll show you here in a minute what I'm talking about. Alright, so there we go. This one I'm not going to put any center in because it's, remember, it's a closed one. Alright, so we'll give that a little bit more drying time, and I think on these, oops, I don't know why I just did that. On these, they typically don't have this kind of a leaf, but I think I want to put some in here just to give it some interest. And this is my favorite kind of a filler leaf. Again, this is just to give it a little bit more interest, fill it in a little bit more. Still using the number 10 flat brush. And just putting it in and putting it in. I like leaves. If you watch my videos, subscribe to my channel, you'll know that I'm a big leaf person. I think they add a lot. If you're not a leaf person, I'm sorry. You don't have to do all the leaves that I do by any means. Definitely not necessary. You can stop at any time if you're able to. Now for me, it's hard for me to stop. But I'm just going to do this, in my little thirds like I like to do. There you go. Whoops, sorry. I just hit my head on my camera. I know I have a tendency to make people feel kind of woozy at times because my camera moves. Hoping to resolve that here soon. Alright, so we can do that here even. Like that, go like that. You get the gist, right? You get the gist. And even, you know, throw some back up in here. I just kind of like them to go in different directions, just kind of filling it in. And even down here, if you feel like you need to put more movement in here. And then maybe just do, this one's kind of fading down, but alright, and you can do that. Put some lines through them if you wish, or just leave them as they are. It's fine too. Alright, I think we're gonna, well, nope, I did promise one other thing. Sorry. I'm going to, was gonna end it, and I forgot. Okay, so on this, I am going to pull it up a little bit more. And this way, you get more of the gist that it is actually the center of the flower, and that's showing. You get my gist. You're kind of peeking in and seeing a little bit of the center, but not the whole deal. Not the whole thing. Sorry. Keep turning my brush the wrong way. But there you go. There you go. These are my asters. Alright. Again, if you're new to my channel, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button. The notification bell will also come up, and hit that so that you get notified whenever I'm posting something new. If you like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up, and there's a share button underneath. Make sure you hit that as well and share it with your social network, including your friends and family. I would appreciate you helping me grow my channel. Alright, if you have any questions, please make a comment down below. Anything you'd like to see me paint, I'd love to hear from you. And until the next video, you have a good one. See you later. Bye.